Morning, everybody. Today we're going to look at a progression to teach the long snap for basically centers. The long snap is basically done on punt, where the punter is approximately 14 yards from the line of scrimmage. If it's a field goal, we're looking at about a 7-yard distance. Good snappers and punters can get the ball away between 2.2 and 2.4 seconds. So that's from the time the snap is initiated until the ball actually leaves the punter's foot. Field goal, we've got about 1.2 to 1.4 seconds to get that ball away, but we're only back 7 yards from the time the ball is snapped until it leaves the punter's foot. We've got Tyler and Alex today, graciously volunteering the time. And we're going to take you through a 6-step progression. So these are very highly qualified and very experienced snappers. But you can use this at your high school level to teach people. And each of the 6 steps we're going to go through, you won't continue until you master the step before. So let's start with step number 1, which is just a mature throwing motion. And guys, can I just have you ball for a second? Mature throwing motion, when you grab the ball, there should be a little pocket right here. All right? We don't want to palm the ball. That's what I mean by palm the ball. So these guys will pick the ball up and spread their fingers along the laces where they're most comfortable. We're going to work in tails. Let's go easy. So the first thing I'm going to look for in step number 1 is to have a mature throwing motion. So let's warm the arm up. Step to your target and just release the ball. The same action as a quarterback. So if you're trying to teach someone to do a long snap, take a look at someone who's got a pretty good throwing motion. These guys are pretty good. Nice tight spiral. Now, once you're comfortable with this step here, we can go to step number 2. There's no secret to the long snap. It's basically throwing the ball like this, but between your legs. So step number 2 is to turn around, grab the ball as you're going to throw it, look between your legs, and then throw the ball with a throwing motion. We don't have the ball on the ground, it's just a natural throwing motion. These guys, they cock it when they throw it this way. They can do the same thing. They're looking for their legs. They can cock it and throw it so that the elbow hits the inside of the thigh. So I want you guys, when you throw at each other, see if it hits the inside of his thigh, and hold that position. Just like that. So if we were doing this for a high school player, someone just learning, until they can master this, I can go to step 3. That's good. Yes, just like that. Beauty. That elbow, side up. Excellent. A couple more guys, and we'll go to step number 3. Alrighty. Step 3. These guys are from. That's where we got this one going. Now they're just going to put the ball on the ground. They're going to spread their legs a little bit wider than shoulder width. We don't want this stance because we lose a lot of power. So we want it a little tighter. So put your helmets on, guys. A little wider. Now we're going to put the ball on the ground. You can cock it about 45 degrees, and you're doing exactly the same thing. You're throwing it but from the ground. The target for a punter is the hip of the punter leg. So I'm right leg, here's the target. So he should be looking at that right hip, vice versa. And you can keep your head down, guys, because the rules protect the center when the head is down. Yes. progression. We're going to place the non-throwing hand, the non-dominant hand on the ball. This will keep the ball lower, especially for field goals when you have the punters with the holder's hands, and just keep that ball down here in the hip. So, put the ball on the ground. Now, make believe you just broken the putter. You come up, grab the ball as if you're going to throw it. Just like before, a little bit of tilt. Now, take your non-throwing hand and lay your index finger right down the seam, just like that. Good. Now, look to your legs. Now, here's the key. He's going to throw it with his right hand just as he was before. That non-throwing hand or non-dominant hand will just guide the ball and it'll hit the inside of his thigh, so when you finish, you should see both of his elbows and legs. So just give him a ready call. Ready? Snap that finger. Get the hands around. You really get the hands through that. A lot of guys just snap it, shorten it. Ready call. Ready. Guys, you've done this before. Ready. Ready? One more each, guys, and we'll go to step. Ready? Alex, you're already moving things. That's good. That's the next step. Oh, you're already moving. A lot of times, this step, guys don't realize that they're already using things. Ready? He's doing hitch too. This is step 5. That's great. We've got to get these lower body muscles because we've got to go 14 yards eventually. We're only working at 10 right now. Eventually we're going to go to 14. So the hitch is basically take your position on the ball, set up, grab it like you're going to throw it, non-dominant hand. Now just lower your hips just a bit. Now, look between your legs, and he's going to extend his hips like this so you can actually see his feet move backwards. Excellent. Good hitch. That's called the hitch. Nice thing about it, if you got cleats, grass, if you're doing a lot of this, I'm going to tell you the next day your hamstrings are going to be sore. Ready? That's putting a little bit more pizzazz on the ball. The hitch allows you to speed it up. You wouldn't go to here until you got the actual target. Ready? Generally speaking, ball lower is better than a ball high or left or right because it takes the punter out of this routine. These are all good. When you become knee level, that's fine. Ready? Step 6. Protection and release. The coach will stand a little bit to the side, and I could have a bag if I want, but I'm not going to do that. Just so you get used to somebody across the line of scrimmage. Same thing as all, exactly the same, but on step 6, once the ball's released, pop your head up with your hands for protection and to facilitate the release downfield. In Canadian football, we have to cover on punts. In NFL, we don't have to. This is your protection. So you probably won't see the ball actually get there. upon your hands, especially when you go to 14 yards. You may see it here at 10, but not at 14. Yeah, it's way low.
Ready?
Just snap, bring yourself up, put yourself low center of it. And then we can teach releasing the weight. We won't do it.
Ready?
Oh, you got the side move down. That's pretty good. Hey. Look at feet.
Ready? Ready?
If I had a bag, I'd get it. At step 6, you eventually want to get to 14 yards. We've been working at 10 yards. Now, if you're working with a high school player, chances are you may not go 14 yards. Maybe you're going to 13 or 12. The higher levels of football, we're looking at 14.
Ready?
Nicely done. That's good. Pretty good, guys. The key with these 6 steps, these are very experienced snappers, obviously. They may not cover them all in about 10 or 15 minutes here, but they wouldn't move to the next step until they've mastered the step before. And if you're finding they have a problem with technique, go to the step that best reflects, okay, we've got to work with a non-throwing and or we've got to work with the hitch, or we've got to make sure that the elbows come through. You can use any of these stages to be able to break it down and to be able to teach it. I just want to give credit for the information you've received today to a gentleman by the name of Frank Morris. Frank worked with the Edmonton then Eskimos for many, many years. He was the player director for Canadian Talent, and he shared these steps with me many, many years ago, and I've had really good success. Guys like Taylor Inglis learned this, doing exactly the same thing. He played with the Eskimos for a number of years. Ryan King, he was taught by Taylor using the same progression. So you can pass this stuff on. Thanks very much, guys, and thank you, guys.